Good day for us at home. You are welcome to my channel. This is Edwin Stitches. Today we'll be taking on how to cut lace material. The cutting is going to include both sleeves, the trouser, and the top. So probably we try to separate the video so that it should not be too long. So we are first of all going to work on how to make a trouser of lace material. So while working on lace material, you can see it has a special way of cutting it. It has a special way of cutting it. The reason being that while working on lace, you must make sure that all this edge must fall at the edge as well. So all this edge mustn't be cut away, must be part of the edge of every part of um the trouser. So we don't hem the mouth of every aspect of our cloth. So we don't hem it. That is, we don't fold like this. This edge must be part of it, must be showing outside. So this the area that will be showing outside includes the sleeves and the sleeves here. This area must be showing outside. Um, must be shown outside, and then we have for our top at the edge. We don't hem the bottom, so this place must be showing outside, and then likewise the trouser too. The bottom aspect of the trouser, this place must be showing outside. So and then likewise the yoke. While putting yoke, this place must be showing outside. So those are the areas where we must have this edge outside. So having said that, so we can now move on to how to cut now. So we are starting with our trouser. Let's see how we start with trouser and then let's quickly fold. So while folding it, you must make sure that this edge is the down part. So you fold to the um, rough side of the fabric that's been rearranged like this. So you can see this edge now is the down part of it's either if you are cutting from here, so you have it here. If you are cutting from here, you have it here. But I'm cutting from this side. So now you make sure that this edge now, this area now, you make sure it is very straight. Make sure it is very straight. So you can draw your straight line to have your starting point there. Let it straight. Next thing we are going to do is just to start our cutting our measurement now. Let's start working on the measurement. The measurement of my client, the length of the trouser of my client is 37. It is 37. So while doing that, I will just make sure I measure 37, starting from the edge here. So there is not going to be allowance because we are not going to fold it. So there won't be allowance there. So we are not going to fold. There won't be allowance. So I'm going to fold them. I'm going to make it 37, just exact 37. But I'll be adding half to it. I'll be adding half to it. The reason why I always add half to it is because I'm going to use elastic. So when you use elastic, it is going to make the trouser jump up a bit by half. So that's the reason why I always have add half to it so that that half will augment the shortage of one, the shortage of half rather. So I'll be having 37 and half. But if you are going to put only rope, if it's going to be only rope, there is no need for you to add half to it. Just take the exact measurement. So I'll be having two as a folding allowance. That is where we are going to put our elastic and rope to. So if you like, you can measure at them both sides so that the line will be very straight. So I will have my straight line here. So we've talk on how to cut sokoto initially. So we have the video on this channel. You can watch how to cut the native trouser, which is sokoto. Just the same method. I'm using the same method. So now the crotch length of this person now the tie is 27 and half, 27.5. So the crotch measurement I'll be using 11, 11 and a half rather. So I've said for our rope trouser, if you are using this method, for our rope trouser, if you are working with 11, 11 and a half, we always work for almost everybody. 11, we always work for almost everybody. But when your customer is fat, the moment you have a tie of 24, 25, 26, 27 upward, it is better you use 11 and a half. But when it is tie of 23, 22, 21, 20. So those one, 11 is going to work for them. 11 is going to work for them. So yeah, so let's now continue. Or if you like, you can just use hip divided by 4. Hip divided by 4 for male distance. But if it were to be female, you are drafting for, make sure you add 1 to it. It's going to be hip divided by 4, whatever you get plus 1. So it is going to work for the female like that. That one is for the female. But for male, there is no need for you to add 1 to it. There's no need for you to add 1 to it. So now this is my crotch length. So here I draw another line. So like 2 inches downwards or 1.5 downward, depending on how you take your measurement of the thigh. So while taking the measurement of the thigh, most of the time here we don't normally have access to inner thigh, so it is always a bit 2 inches downward from the thigh. So that is where we take our thigh measurement. But if you are the type that measure the inner thigh properly, you will able to have access to the inner thigh properly. You place your thigh measurement here on this crotch length. But while taking our own measurement here, it is always 2 inches downward, and that is the reason why we always place our thigh measurement on 2 inches downward here. So now I'll be having my thigh measurement as 27 and half. That is going to be divided by 2. We divide your thigh by 2, it is going to be 13.75. 13.75. So that is a 13 and half quarter. 13 and half quarter. So we have it here. So for sewing allowance, I'll be adding 1. 1 for sewing allowance. 1 for sewing allowance. So for sewing allowance, we add 1 to it because the front and back are always cut together. So for sewing allowance, we add 1 to it. So now we have the total we now have here at this point. We have 15 as the total. We have 15 as the total here. So or we have 14 and a half quarter plus 1. So I'll be taking it as 15 approximately now as the total now. So I will now add additional 1. I'll add additional 1 to it, so making 16. So that 16 is what I'm going to place on my this crotch length here, crotch area. So I have 16 here. So at this point now, we now come in by 2.5. It's okay, it's either 2 or 2.5. But if you are dealing with a client of if you are using 11, if you are using 11 as your crotch length, you can use 2 or 2 quarter. It is okay. So now I'll be coming in by 2.5 here. So this 2.5 is what I'm going to use to draw this straight line to join this waist point here. So I have 13. What I have here from here is 13 and half. So that is 13 and half. You place it so that you have your straight line. So this same method is what we use in cutting our sokoto. So we have the video on this channel you can watch. So now at this point now you just take your cuff and then link this thing together. But if you don't have this curve, but it is good you have it. If you don't have, just make sure that you come up by two here. Then at this point, at this center here, come out by 1. Then you just connect it. Come out by 1 here. 1, mark 1 at the center here. This place mark 2. Then you connect it. So now at this point, we have at this point, this is the actual length. This one is the folding allowance. At this actual length here, you just measure 1. that is where you are going to put your rope or elastic. So one, that's the opening. So at this point, is that this is the exact point. This one is the allowance. So you measure two, then from that two you measure seven. That is where you are going to put your this is the pocket. Seven is the pocket now. So from this waist point, waistline, measure two downward. So from that to that is where you are going to inscribe your pocket. So now we are getting there. At the down part here, you come in one, take one, then it depends on what you want to make the bottom of the trouser to be. My own client here, I'll be using 7 quarter, 7 quarter. That is 14 and half, 14 and half. So now I have 7 quarter, then I will be adding one as my allowance, joining allowance. Don't forget I added one as joining allowance. So that same one is what you are going to put here. So then you join this one. You're going in by one there. So you join it to this tie point where you take your lapse measurement. Join it to that place. Then this one, you draw your straight line. You draw your straight line. So like six, like six now. But since that you are not using this, you are not going to fold, so you can use like 4 or 5 is okay. So then you place your this thing, your pants cuff, and then bring out the cuff. But if you don't have, you can just use your free hand to connect it. You can use your free hand to connect it. But it is good you have this thing. It is good you have this thing. So we have So we have our trouser. The next thing is just to cut it out. So you are going to notch this point by half. Notch it by half because you are going to sew this side by half, this side by also half, making one as your allowance. So you notch this side too by half, then you notch. Don't forget you have one there. So you are done with the front panel of the lace. So of the trouser now. So let's go to this back panel to cut the back panel. So now, while cutting the back panel of the trouser, don't make that mistake. Don't forget that this edge must be at the down part, must be showing. So now, so you cannot just cut like this. No, it must be at the edge. So you just have to shift them. That's the reason why this material always waste materials. So you have to get enough. You have to get enough. Your customer must give you enough. So it's not like other materials that you can just use just anyhow. So this one you have to follow the protocol. So now you can see for this one, so you have to move to the edge. This edge must be balanced. So we have this. Make sure it aligns very well. So we have this. the edge are okay now. So the next thing is just to cut. But at this point here, while cutting, you make sure you had like a one here as allowance here. You just add this one so that there won't be too much shortage at the down part here. So you had one, then you extend this crotch point here. You extend it by one too. You extend it by one at this point. Then you connect it to the um the thigh area here. So that's the only thing you just have to do there. So let's cut. You can see the way this place was being cut. You can see. So at this point, you just move. You cannot come straight to. So you have to slant it until everything is balanced. So we have both the front and the back panel. You can see this place was cut together. So the allowance are already there. So they are cut together. This is how to cut um, trouser of a lace. Trouser of a lace. So thanks for watching. If this video has added value to you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and then you can just drop me a comment on how you feel about this tutorial, and in case if there is any issue that as regards the lecture, please kindly drop the comment for me in the comment section. So and please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, do well to subscribe. So that is what is keeping us going, that you guys are enjoying us. Thank you so much. So in the next video we'll be saying how to cut top, how to cut top and the sleeves. So I don't want the video to be too long, so that's the reason why we have to break it. So thanks for watching.